Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host, Red Flowers. Gonna jump right into it today and start off with the talk in Cubs Town. Alfonso Soriano, he's doing much better. That injured knee of his is improving with each day, it seems. He's getting more confidence in the knee. Everyone around Cubs camp is very excited about the knee finally coming around after the surgery last season. Now, the change that we want to report on today with Soriano is the fact that the Cubs are going to drop him in the batting order. He's going to hit sixth. The early plans are for Lee, Ramirez, Marlon Byrd to precede him 3, 4, and 5 in the order. Whether or not the Cubs stick to that, we'll have to wait and see, but I think it's a very good idea to drop Soriano down into a run-producing spot. He was never a leadoff batter. He was a guy that could, run fast and hit leadoff home runs, but really he never had the skill set for that position. Look for him to return to being a power hitter. The days of him running wild are behind him. If he's healthy and batting in that sixth spot all season, no reason to think he can't make a run at 25 to 30 home runs. He still has the talent to do that. Next player on the list is another injured bat, another guy with a lot of power, and that's Troy Glaus of the Braves. Glaus basically had a lost season. He's had a couple of lost seasons actually in his career because of injury, but the most recent one being the injury to his shoulder. Lots of concerns in St. Louis about whether or not he'd even ever be able to play third base again. They tried him in the outfield, they tried him at first base. Ultimately, he decided to move on to Atlanta, where he'll now play first base. A good position, he should be able to handle that defensively. He's always been a solid third baseman. With the less of a strain on his arm throwing, that should also help him out and be healthy at the major league level. Now, big things are counted on for Glaus in Atlanta. He's going to team with Chipper Jones and Brian McCann in the center of the order, so they really need that right-handed power bat of Glaus. We'll have to wait and see if that shoulder's fully healthy or not. It does bear note, however, that in each of the seasons in his career in which he's had at least 500 at-bats, Troy Glaus has had at least 27 homers with 79 RBIs. So if he's healthy and out there, you have to think there's a good chance that he'll rebound and be an effective power bat in the center of the Braves lineup. Josh Hamilton is a center of the lineup kind of bat for the Rangers, though his outlook at this point isn't quite as positive. Injured his shoulder last week. Reports are now that he'll be out of the lineup until at least Friday. No one's being overly concerned. They're going to hold him out for a couple days, give him some time to get healthy. They obviously don't want this to linger, but as I discussed previously on Around the Horn at BaseballGuys.com, there are concerns about whether or not Hamilton's body will ever allow him to be that everyday player that we saw a couple years ago. Keep a close eye on this situation before you decide to spend an early pick on him in fantasy leagues. Miguel Cabrera. Report earlier in the offseason was he was going to curtail his drinking. Well, he came out today and said, look, he's not drinking anymore ever again. It's great news for Cabrera, who had a lot of troubles at the end of last season. He's looking to put all that behind him, start 2010 fresh. Cabrera is young. He doesn't even turn 27 until April, and in each of the last 6 seasons, he's had at least 292 with 26 homers and 103 RBIs. To compare, March has only got 5 such seasons in that time. Now, the difference between Cabrera and everyone else at first base not named Albert Pujols isn't the power. There's power everywhere at first. It's the ability to hit for average. Cabrera owns a .311 career batting average. That definitely sets him apart and puts him, in my mind, the number 2 guy at first base, right behind Albert Pujols and just ahead of Prince Fielder heading into the season. Jose Reyes, good reports out of Mets camp with him. In an inter-squad game, yeah, who cares? But it was an inter-squad game, and he was out there. First pitch he saw, he wrapped out a triple, ran around the bases though, didn't report any setbacks, and that's obviously the key. Can he run? Can he accelerate? Can he handle the rigors of baseball, which is a lot of that starting and stopping, and still maintain the health of his legs? So far, so good with Reyes, who still, the Mets say, will bat third in the start of the season until Beltran returns to the lineup. Have to wait and see, number 1, how he handles the role, and number 2, how physically he's able to compete. But for now, all good news from the Mets camp. And finally, Bobby Jenks. Bobby Jenks also stopped drinking like Miguel Cabrera. He lost 20 pounds in the offseason, rededicated himself, and showed up to camp looking to make his mark in 2010. Now, there's a lot of questions with Jenks about what's going to come this year. There's the presence of Matt Thornton, who's been a better pitcher the past 2 seasons. There's also the addition of J.J. Putz, who, if healthy, might cause the White Sox to move Bobby Jenks. Jenks is in a 1-year deal right now for about $7.5 million. Thornton, as an example, is making just over $2 million this year. Obviously, they save a lot of money moving Thornton into that closer role and Putz into the setup spot. So the key really might be the health of Putz and whether or not that pushes Thornton to the 9th and Jenks to another club. Now, Jenks can still be an effective closer. He still possesses enough strikeouts and keeps the walks in check, still gets enough ground balls, and if last year's home run to fly ball ratio that was almost double his career rate regresses as it shouldn't this season, there's no reason to think that he won't be able to be an effective hurler once again. The question is not necessarily the skill set, but whether he'll have the opportunity. If he gets traded, does he get traded to a team where he's also allowed to pitch in the 9th inning, or does he move into a setup role? So there's a lot of uncertainty with Bobby Jenks. If you want to read more about Jenks, click on the link that accompanies this piece. because I have a whole breaking down piece kind of looking at him and what to expect in 2010. Again, I'm Ray Flowers. This has been Around the Horn at BaseballGuys.com. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you all again soon.